inaugural session of the 13th Parliament begins tomorrow. BNP's parliamentary party meeting held with Prime Minister Tariq Rahman in the chair. Cleanliness drive across the country starts on 14th March to save people from dengue and chikungunya, says the Prime Minister. Currently, no concern for energy despite supply crisis entering Middle East war, says the BPC. A new history will unfold tomorrow with the beginning of new parliament. Democracy would be institutionalized, says the LGRD minister. Mass media make structure of nation psyche. Media created vibe of movement, says Information and Broadcasting Minister. Government fixes goal to create 1 crore employment opportunities in next 5 years, says State Minister for Expatriate Welfare. Markets and malls vibrant, centering Eid shopping on till dead of night. Advisors urge Trump to step back from Iran war soon. 43,000 US citizens leave Middle East, centering the war. And in Mirpur, Bangladesh beat Pakistan by 8 wickets in first ODI of 3-match series. Assalamu alaikum. This is Faria Dilshadmo welcoming all to News at 10. Those were the highlights, now the details of news. The first session of the Jatiya Sanshad will begin at 11 in the morning tomorrow. Earlier, on February 23, President Mohammad Shahabuddin summoned the session on March 12. The President convened the session exercising the power bestowed upon him as per the Article 72(1) of the Constitution, a press release said. Before commencing the House proceedings on the day, the Parliamentary Business Advisory Committee is likely to hold a meeting to fix the duration and agendas of the session. The main task of the Treasury bench in the first sitting is to place those ordinances before the House which the government wants to turn into law. The interim government promulgated or amended a total of 130 ordinances during its 18-month tenure. According to the Constitution, the President must convene the first session of the new Parliament within 30 days of publication of the Gazette of the parliamentary election results. He does so in accordance with the written advice of the Prime Minister. The Gazette of the MPs elected in the 13th Jatiya Sanshad election held on February 12 was published on February 13. BNP Chairman Tariq Rahman has already been elected as the leader of the House in the 13th Jatiya Sanshad, while Jamaat-e-Islam Amir Dr. Shafiqur Rahman has been elected as the leader of the opposition. Immediately after the House goes into its maiden sitting, the Speaker and Deputy Speaker will be elected and sworn in by the President. After the election, the session is likely to be adjourned for 15 to 20 minutes for the oath taking. The new Speaker will then preside over the House session. The committee will decide the tenure of the inaugural session and other businesses of Parliament. The standing committees on different ministries are likely to be formed during this session. President Shahabuddin will also address the first sitting of the session in line with the Constitution, according to sources at the Parliament Secretariat. The Cabinet will approve the speech and MPs will discuss the President's speech. At the first sitting, the House will also adopt an obituary motion. A parliamentary meeting of the ruling party lawmakers was held at the National Parliament building. Prime Minister and Leader of the House, Tariq Rahman, presided over the meeting. During the meeting, ruling party members of Parliament entrusted the responsibility of nominating candidates for the Speaker and Deputy Speaker elections to the Leader of the House, Tariq Rahman. The meeting also discussed the strategy and activities of party MPs during the parliamentary session. Ruling party members of parliament were present at the meeting. Home Minister and BNP Standing Committee member Salahuddin Ahmed has said the party will honour the paths it agreed upon in the July National Charter, reaffirming its commitment ahead of the new parliamentary session. Talking to reporters after a meeting of Treasury Bench lawmakers at Jatiyo সংসদ Bhavan, Home Minister said discussions on public expectations and the implementation of the July Martyrs' demands will take place after the next parliament convenes. He said the first session of the 13th Parliament will begin tomorrow when the President will administer the oath to the Speaker and Deputy Speaker in line with parliamentary rules. The House will then elect the panel chairman and hold a condolence motion followed by a discussion. Salahuddin also noted that 133 ordinances issued by the previous interim government will be placed before Parliament during the session. Several parliamentary committees, including the Business Advisory Committee, will also be formed. Later in the day, the President is scheduled to deliver his address in the maiden session, which will conclude the proceedings for the day. According to Ahmed, the Business Advisory Committee will meet the following day to determine the parliamentary agenda, and the current session may be dissolved on March 15. Tomorrow's parliamentary session will be Parliament of the People. The Parliament will serve as the supreme democratic institution representing the rights, hopes and aspirations of the nation's citizens, said Chief Whip Nurul Islam Muni today at a briefing in the National Parliament Building LED Hall. He stated that the main goal is to transform the hopes and aspirations of the people into reality through an effective parliament. Efforts will focus on improving the living standards of ordinary citizens, eradicating poverty and making the country's economy more dynamic and strong. The Chief Whip appealed to the people of the country for their prayers and support in building a strong, democratic and prosperous Bangladesh together. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman has called upon the countrymen to take preventive measures against dengue and chikungunya, announcing that a nationwide cleanliness campaign will begin from March 14 to help protect citizens from the mosquito-borne diseases. In a special video message to the nation, the Premier today drew attention to the urgent public health issue, saying dengue and chikungunya have become deadly diseases causing loss of lives. Highlighting the importance of awareness and cleanliness, the Prime Minister said these are the most effective ways to prevent dengue.
ডেঙ্গু কিংবা চিকুনগুনিয়ার মতন মরণঘাতী রোগ জনগণের প্রাণহানির কারণ হয়ে দাঁড়িয়েছে। অথচ আমরা যদি সবাই সচেতন হই তাহলে ডেঙ্গু কিংবা চিকুনগুনিয়া থেকে নিজেদেরকে রক্ষা করতে পারি। আমাদের সকলের মনে রাখা প্রয়োজন ডেঙ্গু প্রতিরোধে সচেতনতা এবং পরিষ্কার পরিচ্ছন্নতাই সবচেয়ে কার্যকর উপায়। এরই পরিপ্রেক্ষিতে আসন্ন বর্ষা মৌসুমের আগে থেকেই সরকার 14 মার্চ শনিবার থেকে প্রতি সপ্তাহে সারা দেশে পরিচ্ছন্নতা অভিযান শুরু করতে যাচ্ছে। এই পরিচ্ছন্নতা অভিযানে স্থানীয় প্রশাসন কার্যকরী উদ্যোগ গ্রহণ করছে। এর পাশাপাশি প্রতিটি এলাকার জাতীয় সংসদ সদস্যগণ সর্বস্তরের জনপ্রতিনিধিদের গণের প্রতি আমার আহ্বান, জনগণকে সঙ্গে নিয়ে প্রতি সপ্তাহের শনিবার আপনারা যার যার এলাকার নিজ নিজ বসত বাড়ি এবং আশেপাশের এলাকায় পরিচ্ছন্নতা অভিযান পরিচালনা করুন। নিয়মিত পরিচ্ছন্নতা অভিযান চললে আসন্ন দিনে ডেঙ্গু কিংবা চিকুনগুনিয়ার মতন মরণঘাতী জ্বর থেকে জনগণ নিজেদেরকে রক্ষা করতে সম্ভব হবে ইনশাআল্লাহ। আমাদের সরকারের জাতীয় স্বাস্থ্য নীতির মূল নীতি হচ্ছে প্রিভেনশন ইজ বেটার দেন কিওর, অর্থাৎ প্রতিকারের চেয়ে প্রতিরোধ উত্তম। অতএব কোথাও ময়লা পানি জমে থাকতে দেবেন না। নিজের বাসা, বাড়ি এবং আশপাশ পরিচ্ছন্ন রাখুন। এডিস কিংবা চিকুনগুনিয়া থেকে নিজেকে রক্ষা করুন, নিজেদেরকে রক্ষা করুন, অপরকে রক্ষা করুন।
Despite some disruptions in global fuel supply due to the war in the Middle East, the Bangladesh Petroleum Corporation (BPC) has stated that there is currently no risk of a fuel shortage in the country. BPC confirmed that there is an adequate stock of fuel oil and several fuel and crude oil carrying ships are en route to Chittagong port. According to BPC data, the country currently has around 168,000 metric tons of diesel and other types of fuel oil in stock at the country's only refinery, Eastern Refinery. There are about 150,000 tons of crude oil. Meanwhile, 10 days after the outbreak of war in the Middle East, a tanker carrying 27,000 tons of diesel arrived at Chittagong port on Monday, with 4 more expected within a week. BPC's chairman stated that fuel is also being imported via pipeline from India, and to maintain uninterrupted supply, imports from alternative sources and rationing measures have been implemented. Experts believe that if the war does not prolong, there is no major risk of a fuel shortage in the country. Energy specialists recommended that in the future importance should be given on increasing strategic fuel reserves to better handle such situations. The BPC chairman also noted that administrative monitoring has been strengthened at petrol pumps to prevent artificial shortages created through dishonest practices. The Bangladesh Petroleum Corporation (BPC) has increased the supply of fuel oil from depots to petrol pumps under a rationing system. A statement issued today said that BPC has raised fuel supply to petrol pumps by 10%. The statement added that in the current global crisis, BPC is providing instructions on the supply and receipt of fuel oil to ensure adequate availability for the needs of the country's population. Notably, following the ongoing war in the Middle East, petrol pumps began selling fuel under a rationing system last Sunday on government orders to prevent a long-term fuel shortage in the country. Meanwhile, the Chittagong Port Authority reported that 10 fuel-carrying ships are currently in Bangladesh's waters. Board member of the port, Commodore Ahmed Amin Abdullah, said unloading operations are underway from 6 ships within Chittagong port waters. He added that among 4 ships in the port waters, 2 are carrying LNG while the remaining 2 are carrying LPG and gasoline. The Port Authority is working in a coordinated manner to ensure smooth fuel supply. Additionally, a 3-tier security system including the Navy and Coast Guard has been implemented for ships anchored offshore. It is noted that 8 ships had unloaded fuel and left Chittagong port in the past week. With the beginning of the new session of Parliament, a new history is being made tomorrow. This Parliament will give institutional form to democracy. LGRD and Cooperatives Minister Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir said this at an iftar mahfil organized by Bangladesh Federal Union of Journalists (BFUJ) and Dhaka Union of Journalists (DUJ) at the National Press Club today. Speaking on the occasion, Information and Broadcasting Minister Johiruddin Shopon said that the media built the framework of the nation's psyche. The media have created the atmosphere for the country's movements and struggles, he added. Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, also being the Secretary General, said that the ruling party always believes in freedom of mass media. Social Welfare Minister Dr. A.Z.M. Zahid Hussain, State Minister for Information and Broadcasting Yasir Khan Chaudhuri, Jamaat Islami Secretary General Mia Ghulam Parwar and journalist union leaders spoke at the discussion. DUG President Shahidul Islam presided over the program. Russian ambassador to Bangladesh Alexander G. Kozin called on Information and Broadcasting Minister Zohiruddin Shopon at the Secretariat today. During the meeting, they discussed various issues including mutual interests of the two countries. The Information Broadcasting Minister expressed the hope that the existing relations between the countries as well as peace and prosperity will continue. The Russian ambassador mentioned that through a strong historical heritage and mutual solidarity, the new achievements and development partnership between Moscow and Dhaka will be further strengthened. Russia wants to continue the tradition of dynamic partnership and positive engagement with the current government of Bangladesh that came to power through the 13th parliamentary election, he added. Bangladesh has called upon India to increase the quantity of diesel export during emergency situations. However, Energy Minister Iqbal Hassan Mahmud Tuku informed that how much Indian government would increase the quantity of fuel is not finalized yet. He said this after a meeting with Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Pranay Kumar Verma, at the Secretariat today. State Minister for Expatriates Welfare and Overseas Employment Mohammad Nurul Haq has said the government has set a target to create 1 crore jobs over the next 5 years. He made the remarks today while addressing a seminar organized by UCEP Bangladesh in the capital. The State Minister urged Bangladeshi migrant workers to act responsibly abroad and criticized irregularities by some recruiting agencies, including the collection of excessive fees from workers. He said the government is taking steps to bring all training programs across the country under a coordinated system. To this end, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman has formed an expert committee to work on the initiative, Nurul Haq added. Speakers at the seminar emphasized on the need for developing skilled human resources and decentralizing the labor market to expand employment opportunities. A program titled Ring the Bell for Gender Equality was organized today at the multipurpose hall of Dhaka Stock Exchange in the capital on the occasion of International Women's Day. State Minister for Foreign Affairs Shama Obai spoke as chief guest at the program through video conference. Speaking on the occasion, the State Minister said that sustainable development is not possible without ensuring women's empowerment. She laid emphasis on coordinated work of government and non-government sectors to ensure equal participation of women in education, economy, and every aspect of leadership. Later, representatives of various banks, corporate and legal sectors took part in a panel discussion on unlocking the potential and strategy of women leadership. Eid means joy, and Eid shopping is a big part of that celebration. As Eid al-Fitr approaches, markets and shopping malls across the capital Dhaka are experiencing overwhelming crowds from morning until night. Shoppers are flocking to buy their favorite outfits. From large shopping malls and markets to roadside and footpath shops, buying and selling are taking place everywhere in full swing. Among young people in particular, new designs of Punjabis, saris, three-piece outfits and Western-style clothing are high on the list of preferences. However, there are mixed reactions among shoppers regarding the prices. The busy rush to buy new clothes to share the joy of Eid with loved ones will continue until the night before Eid. A fact-finding committee formed to investigate allegations of 1 crore taka bribe demand in exchange for acquittal in a case related to the July massacre has started its activities. ICT Chief Prosecutor Aminul Islam disclosed the information this afternoon. Earlier on Tuesday, a 5-member committee was formed to investigate allegations that recently resigned ICT Prosecutor Saimum Reza Talukdar demanded 1 crore taka in bribes in return for acquittal. The committee headed by Chief Prosecutor Aminul Islam also includes prosecutors Abdus Subhan Tarufdar, newly appointed prosecutor Murzina Rahman Medina, Mohammad Zahirul Amin and the tribunal's law research officer Sifatullah. According to the prosecutor, the fact-finding committee will examine various issues related to the investigations and prosecution activities of the reconstituted International Crimes Tribunal. The committee will also investigate the bribery allegations against former prosecutor Saimum Reza Talukdar. Meanwhile, the tribunal has set 30th March for issuing its order on framing charges against former ministers Rashid Khan Menon and Kamrul Islam in a case over crimes against humanity linked to the July mass uprising. Now, moving on to international news.